I think this is the first time that I've shared this on a podcast. So bear with me because it might not come out clean and polished. It might come out as pivotable.
Oh,
Um,
okay. It's a new word. It's a word that we're going to be using quite often now.
Martians landed,
Yes.
wearing Prada suits,
Yes.
drinking Henry Seltzer,
Yes.
chewing juicy fruit.
Yes, and
Your branding here,
yes, brand.
your message here,
Yes, and
a verse about
yes,
your product here.
yes,
I'm Hirsch Redman.
yes,
I'm
and
a message therapist.
yes,
And I have a podcast.
yes, brand.
That's right, that's it.
Yes,
We'll help you fix the world
yes.
or your bottom line.
All right,
Your bottom line.
get it. I get it. Welcome to the Yes Brand Podcast.
In the hot seat today on Yes Brand is Peter. I was going to say Pete. It's Peter Murphy Lewis, also known as Pete and creator of the brand Strategic Pete. And that he's a distinguished fractional chief marketing officer. He specializes in translating complex marketing data into clear, actionable strategies. And he's pivotable. Are you pivotable, Pete? He's
I can be.
he's pivotable. I could spin him around right now in his on his chair in his lovely office there, and he would be pivotable. But he's pivotable. Pivotable is how I'm going to do it, and driving revenue across and growth across diverse sectors, including software, travel, media, and more uniquely, zoos and banks. His ability to find commonalities in seemingly disparate industries really sets him apart in the field of strategic marketing. And beyond his consulting prowess, Peter's also host of two television shows and the producer and narrator of a compelling documentary, blending his expertise with a natural talent for storytelling. Living with his family in a literal zoo in Wichita, Kansas, Peter's life is as colorful and dynamic as his professional endeavors. He's known for his skill in assembling and leading high performance teams, which makes him the trusted advisor for CEOs seeking to demystify their marketing efforts and accelerate business growth. And we are super pleased to have Pete on the show today. Welcome, Pete.
Pivotable Pete is here.
Pivotable Pete. I want to use that in the
I'm going
title,
out
even
to
though
I'm
even
going to GoDaddy right now, Hirsch. You just made me
Pivotable
drop
Pete.
another $20 at GoDaddy
That's
that I
right.
don't need to.
It's 19 cents if you get it for 3 years, because I guarantee you there's no Pivotable Pete you're going to have to buy from anybody. Remember those days where we used to gobble up. I don't know if people still do it. Maybe. I think URLs are not. It doesn't have the same weight anymore that it used
I
to.
think they already gobbled them up is the
Yeah,
problem. I've
that's what it is.
done I've done two rebrands for some clients in the last couple years, and we couldn't find a domain that we would even entertain as a brand for less than $30,000.
Yeah, yeah. It just seems like it's one of those things beyond concern, beyond my concern at this point, because I
We
know that, you know,
there's a lot of things that I dislike about the search world and SEO and Google. One of the great things is, as a marketer and as a person who's interested in brand, if you wanted to have a really long ass brand, Google will figure it out for you. Someone doesn't have to remember the URL. So if you go to GoDaddy and you can't find it and you want to do, you know, um, hungry hungry Hirsch yesbrand.com, Google will help your client find you.
yeah, and it will. And I was thinking that I'm just going to use my password manager to generate a company name the way it generates a password. And it'll just be a bunch of senseless letters and numbers and symbols, and that'll be it. And
I kind of like that idea.
it's not a bad idea. It's an easy way to get a cheap URL. Okay,
That
but
would be the hardest master's project you could ever give to like your group of 20 MBA students. Like, hey, everyone's gonna get a scrambled password and this is gonna be your brand and you have a
you have to
semester to
brand it.
build up a brand it.
That is a great idea. See, we're already just generating ideas, challenges. We're having fun. You are. I think what we're going to do today is maybe take a journey with you through your entrepreneurial endeavors because you've learned so much. You've seen a lot. You continue to grow and innovate. Um, Take us back to 1940s. No, I really don't know what year it was. I don't think it was the 40s, maybe the 90s. I don't know. But let's take us back to Chile and your bicycle tours business, and you can tell us how old you were at the time. I don't know. You could not have been very old.
27,
Okay.
2007. I had just gotten out of my master's program in South America. I just become a full-time professor, and I wanted to get into the private world, and no one would hire me because I was kind of cornered into the scholarly or academic kind of profile, and I
Well,
didn't
it
know
could have been the
anyone.
glasses. The
Yeah,
glasses
could have
and the
been.
beard are a giveaway.
This is true. This could have been the fact that I wore bow ties. Like, who's gonna hire
Oh,
me in Latin America with a bow tie? And I knew that I had an advantage in South America in I guess in three main things. One is English. I spoke English and most of them didn't. Two is I had some decent marketing chops coming from a business family. And then third, probably the most important, is I was good at customer service.
mm,
Latin America in the early 2000s were not particularly great at customer service compared to like kind of the natural gab that we have in the United States, even more so in the Midwest. I'm from Kansas, and we'll just bend over backwards to make you feel comfortable. And I put those things together, and I figured which is the cheapest business that I could start that would help me, that would give me an advantage with those three variables. And it was tourism. And I started a bicycle tour company, and within 2 weeks, I knew that I wanted the brand to be in Spanish because I wanted it to stand out. So it was La Bicicleta Verde. And I can remember the conversation I had with my business partner at the time, which is everybody in Chile is doing a travel company in English. Why don't we go
yeah.
against why don't we go against it? And why don't we do it in Spanish? But we need the word in Spanish to be easy enough that everyone who doesn't speak Spanish knows what it is. And when they see us on the streets, we want everyone to know what our brand is without having to read some small decal on the bike. So we just said green bicycles, La Bicicleta Verde. And it really took off. It was a lot of that was luck. What I just shared to you sounded very calculated. I'd give it 50% calculation, 50% luck. It could have backfired on us being in Spanish and being so
Yeah.
simple, right? Like Verde, it could have been something a little bit more sophisticated, but it wasn't. And it took off. It got in New York Times within a year, got in Lonely Planet and Frommer's and all of those things.
It's interesting because I love going against the common practice or even the best practices rule. I get it. Sometimes we don't need to reinvent the wheel, no pun intended, but but with the bicycle tour company, people will feel like they're getting something local. They're getting a native kind of tour versus something for foreigners to enjoy or
Mm.
for tourists to enjoy. So it makes sense. It's just you're trying something different. So it went well off the bat. You got attention. What were your aspirations for it at that point?
I mean, my inspirations at the beginning were really, really minimal. I think probably financial independence. So like buying myself a job was okay. At the age of 27, I didn't know any better. I think my aspirations were probably to potentially sell the company within 10 or 15 years and then eventually break into other industries outside of just bicycle tours. I didn't sell it within 10 years. I sold it in 17 years. I did get into other industries. I got into other industries partially because we had success with the bicycles from a branding point of view. We became very trendy. Like we were the new W hotel in Santiago, Chile. And, to give a, if a W comes into your town, I'm sure like when it came into Miami, it was a big deal. So we were kind of trendy, but it was bad in the sense the reason we got into another brand or another industry is because we chose the wrong niche. You can't make seven-figure profit doing bicycle tours in a city where most people don't want to ride a bike. So we did get to seven figures revenue, not to profit. So that's where we realized we had to get into wine tours and then to walking tours. We had to expand to 4 different cities. Each one of these niches that I'm sharing with you had its own brand. And then we got into high-end travel packages with also another brand. So we ended up building 5 different brands.
But they all sprung out of the tourism and travel sector.
And looking back on it, there was a couple things that were smart and a couple things that were probably weak. On the weak side, it was the business planning, but that's my lack of experience. What was good on the positive side is we used the same operation. So we had, a team of almost 40 people when we were big in 4 different cities, and the same people who were doing walking tours for $15 a pop, $15 a head, were the people who were doing our corporate B2B tourism at $300 a head. So my guides were so great at $15, they could still do a tour at $300.
Well, the what was the second iteration? Well, first of all, so you had the bicycle tours ran for you ran that for 17 years.
I did.
Essentially, you
I
still
ran it
lived in
for
Chile, or did you?
Yeah, I ran it for 12. So I ran it from 2007 to 2019. In 2019, I moved back to the US, and then my business partner took over all of the operations and even the marketing. I ran the marketing and sales team and then a little bit of operations, and he did legal and accounting and all of those items. And that grew. So that was 2007. By 2010, we realized that we were never going to make enough money from the bicycle business to get to the next level. So we built a second brand, which was called
Okay.
Tours for Tips. And it's just like you
Right.
imagine, it's walking tours for a tip. And I think you'll like this, Hirsch. We were trying to figure out how are we going to make tours for tips stand out in an industry where commissions and hotels and hostels were
Right.
were
We're
the
not.
business model. This is,
Right.
internet hadn't people didn't have internet on their cell phones yet. I mean, business people did. They had a BlackBerry, but people didn't have Google Maps downloaded and you couldn't go walk around. You had a book. So we had our guides dress up as the kids' book, Where's Waldo? Where's Wally? So Tours for Tips is a spinoff of the kids' book, Where's Waldo? And our guides dress up. So when you walk around the street, you just see Waldo everywhere wearing a striped shirt.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So okay, so you had them running concurrently, and what would you say was okay? So the first roadblock was we're never going to net 7 figures doing bicycle tours. We now
Mhm.
have the walking tours thing going, and how did that business grow or scale?
Tours for Tips grew quickly. We launched it in a second city first. So we had bicycle tours in one city and walking tours in a second city. And then the walking tours slowly moved to 4 other cities, and the bicycle tours grew into 2 other cities. So our operation, territorially speaking, we started to grow, which allowed for us to cross-sell products. And our branding was so strong across different platforms, TripAdvisor, SEO, and so forth. You might take a walking tour for $15, but then you'd buy our bicycle tour for $200. And you knew it was the same company, but they were different niches, and there was enough carryover or enough
How
overlap that
how was the bicycle tour? What made it more expensive?
well, mostly fixed costs. And you just can't get as many people. So like our walking tours, we could do 150 to 250 people in a day in a walking tour with 5 to six guides. There's not 250 people who want to do a bicycle tour, and you can't get 250 people on the streets without having, a traffic jam and
Right.
the police come out. So, but just by the model, bicycle tours had 5 to 8 people in it, and therefore you could justify charging $50 to $75 for a city bicycle tour. And then for a wine tour, if you're going to go to a boutique vineyard where the wines cost $50 a bottle, and to get you out there, we have to charge 200. So it's just the
Right.
nature of the model.
Okay. And then where did it evolve from there?
From there, we got into corporate tourism, mostly because these big companies like Mary Kay, uh, American Airlines, Duke University started knock on our door and say, "Hey, will you do a version of your walking tour or a version of your wine tour? But we want it customized. We want it for us. We want you to have live entertainment during the tour. We want a gift at the end." So we started doing corporate tourism, and that's how we got into the next niches. So we built wine, or we built bicycle, or we built golf tours for corporate. So we got
Right.
into doing golf tours, which were obviously, $500 to $2,000 a person. And then we got into the high end tours, which is because these people who would come in from the corporate, they'd say, "Hey, we're coming down for 7 days of meetings. I like your bicycle tours. I took them last year. Can you do Atacama for me? Can you do Easter Island for me?" So then we started doing, these packages for $5,000 to $10,000 a person, and we would map them out all around the country. And then we started outsourcing it. So we became an operator.
Uh-huh. Yeah. See, at that rate, I'm sure those tours were pivotable. They
Yes.
probably were. Definitely you could, or the golf tours would be divotable. But either way, you went up in class. You kind of you elevate. That's an interesting topic in that when people talk about scale, they don't often talk about scaling for luxury. I mean, obviously, this is not a new concept, but when businesses talk about scalability, they're often talking about repeatability, reproducibility, that kind of thing, manpower, things like that. But they don't always hit on how can they upsell or upgrade to a really luxury experience that is going to be ultimately more profitable.
Well,
Did
I agree. I think that there's two things that helped us do that organically. One is the majority of our clients never came back twice, right? You only go to South
Oh, I thought you were going
America.
to say they never came back. You would probably get have some problems with.
Well, they don't come back to the country very often. Like Chile is
Oh,
on your
okay.
bucket list and you go once, unless you're a business traveler, generally speaking. And secondly is once you start with a proven product at that entry level price point, bike and walking tours, and you know that you have amazing customer service, you can raise your price without having pushback from your clients. So you could build out other packages because you know that your quality is there. As long as your 5-star reviews on TripAdvisor and the internet aren't dropping, then you can continue to raise your price. Whereas if you were in Miami, you can't just raise your price from $50 to $250 from one year to the next. You're going to piss off all your clientele that comes down
Right,
every year.
right, right. Well, that's a really interesting point. Um, and then you came back here. Did you start anything else while you were still in Chile, or did you come back?
Those were the main
Yeah.
ones. I would say that I had an impact on the brand of my TV show. So my first TV show started in 2017. In Spanish, it's called Aquí te
Right.
los traigo Peter, which means I'm bringing my A game. It's kind of a version of Micro's Dirty Jobs, me trying to learn other people's jobs. And that name was mine. I patented that. I had the website, and we grew that, obviously with the support of a TV station and a production company, right? Like I'm probably the
Yeah.
least important in that equation, but I had an impact, and that's helped grow into a new TV show that I just filmed 6 months ago and the documentaries, but not really, nothing I truly owned until I moved back to the US. And that's when I started Strategic Pete.
And when you moved back and you started Strategic Pete, did you just think of that as a cool business name, or did you think of it as a personal brand?
I think that at that point, I was trying to hedge my bets on both. I knew that if I built a personal brand, it would be hard to exit, be hard to sell.
Sure.
Not impossible, but harder. But at the same time, like I'd already built up my brand from my TV show, which has my name on it. The name of the show has my name on it. And people started calling me Gringo Peter or Gringo Pete. So I I felt that if I wanted to have some carryover to use that social proof into what was going to help me as a consultant, a fractional CMO, it made sense. Now, I probably spent 3 months thinking on the name before I came up with Strategic Pete. I think the
Yeah.
thing that had the biggest, what influenced me the most is Sneaky Pete, the
Yeah.
Amazon Prime show. And I
Yeah.
always felt that that was kind of catchy. And I'm like, and I often had people tell me, Peter, you're not a marketer. You're not a marketing consultant. You're way more strategic than a marketing consultant. And I just heard people say strategic and strategic and strategic over and over. And one time it just hit, like it just kind of pulled it together.
Yeah. And that show, what was that? Giovanni Ribisi that was in that
I
show
think
in
so.
the Sneaky Pete. It was a good show. I don't, I, but it's also was a catchy name. And you're
Hmm.
right. I don't think of Sneaky Pete when I hear Strategic Pete, but it sings. It's like a really good thing. And you make a very good point. I hope people pay attention to, which is the appropriateness of the name is everything. In other words, clever, whatever it might be, catchy, memorable, none of that matters if it doesn't open a door to who you are, if it doesn't lend itself to who you are. And that's what I sparked to with Strategic Pete. Um, but let's talk about what you set out to deliver with that
Hmm.
brand.
Well, Strategic Pete, this, I think this is the first time that I've shared this on a podcast. So bear with me because it might not come out clean and polished. It might come out as pivotable.
Oh,
Um,
okay. It's a new word. It's a word that we're going to be using quite often now.
uh,
Pivotable.
so so it started off as a marketing agency with traditional, almost full service marketing agency. It then kind of grew into a fractional role. About 75% of my customers wanted me only for the advisory role and the strategy. They didn't want the retainer. Sometimes because they already had a marketer in-house, but the marketer didn't have enough experience. So they were making mistakes or not taking the next level. And then about 25% of those clients said, hey, you know how to oversee your own team. I don't want to bring on a mid-level marketer. I don't want anything in-house. I'll have you do all of that. So that's currently how it has morphed into what it is. Now, where I'm struggling from a scaling point of view is separating me from all fractional roles, right? I have about 3 managers on my team who could easily be fractional CMOs, but clients see an American who's been on TV and has a nice microphone. They want to see my face. Now, I do have two amazing clients who understand that my right hand man and woman do such an amazing job that I don't need to be in the room and I don't even go to those meetings. My team brings the problems to me and I help them solve them in a setting. But I am struggling with that as a brand and taking it to the next level.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's a double-edged sword because sometimes you the best and most and swiftest way to brand a new company is because you're in front of it or behind it and you have built up some credibility. You if you called it strategy central, people wouldn't it wouldn't mean anything. Pete, even if they don't know who Pete is, they then go and look who Pete is. And it's the story. It's the story of all these other things that we've been talking about, all these things
Hmm.
you've done. So it is challenging. Now you have the option of doing like a Doctor Who thing where you can actually introduce a strategic Pete a new person who's actually the new strategic Pete, um, whose name doesn't have to be Pete, doesn't have to be a man. You can have your right hand man and woman fight over it in
Hmm.
gladiator style and see who wins really, and you saw how well Gladiator 2 did at the
Hmm.
box office. So, perhaps it's just one idea, but I'm just saying, you could have them fight over who gets to be Strategic Pete,
Hmm.
but that could actually, it's interesting to me. It has like a Willy Wonka flavor to it, where
Hmm.
you would be looking for a new iteration of your business, but you want to step away from it.
Hmm.
Strategic Pete isn't such a, is you're, it's more the practical application of you. It's
Hmm.
more your credibility and talents are in demand by the client because you exist, not
Yeah.
so much because of the name.
And
So
and
what
it
are
le
you?
and it
Yeah,
leads with strategy, and it's not like it has my last name. So it is
yeah,
generic enough that it can grow.
yeah. It can grow. So the challenge really um, is like a lot of people have with succession, is like a handover,
Hmm.
is something like that. It's not so much a scaling issue as an exiting
Hmm.
issue.
Hmm.
Um, and that is a challenge. But in along those lines, you know, it's you're now a few years into this business. Um, what do you think? What do you see as a trajectory now for yourself as just the Peter Murphy Lewis brand?
Yeah. So Peter Murphy Lewis, apart from Strategic Pete, is moving into two new facets of storytelling, and therefore revenue. So the documentary, I just trademarked it. It's called People Worth Caring About. I have sold, produced, and helped direct and been the face, the talent, or the host of three. Um, and People Worth Caring About is a documentary format where we share the story of branded content. So right now
Oh,
it's been in the healthcare space in long-term care, so nursing homes. Next year it'll be in mining and fishing and some other industry. And so it's taking like what we all know from documentaries from REI or documentaries from Patagonia, or even kind of the ways that Johnson and Johnson has tried to control the narrative. But me being the storyteller, and that is separate from Strategic Pete. That's actually done with my production company in South America and had a lot of success in the last 6 months. The second element, and then I'll let you tell me which way you want to go
yeah,
or go
yeah.
back to the original one, but it's tied to it, is me doing keynotes. So, between 2020, I would say in 2022, I did my first keynote. By the end of 2023, I'd probably done 15 around the country. And in 2025, I've been booked for six already in the last
Wow.
month and a half. And so, and that it's very closely tied to the documentary. So, and this is weird how this happened because this wasn't my doing. The keynotes are all around. I've done more jobs than anyone else I know because of my TV show. It's Dirty Jobs. I've done 150 jobs. And this is what I've learned from you. So, and because I mean, when you've done 150 jobs, you've almost done everybody's job in the world. Um,
Yeah.
and in terms of at least a close cousin of some type of industry. And so I talk about at the more human level what I have learned from attributes of people like you. So either you're a servant leader, or you're analytical, or or maybe you're a teacher or a mom or something like that. And that's kind of where that's growing, and building out that Peter Murphy brand, which is what you asked.
Yeah. No, I think that's interesting. Um, so the documentary, it's a documentary series, essentially.
It started
Or
off as a series. I've filmed everyone as a series. Amazon Prime has asked us to submit them. So we think that we will get all three documentaries on Amazon Prime this year. And the reason it started off as a series is because I didn't know any better. I'm learning this as I go. But when I hired the consultant, she said, this needs to be to have more success. It needs to be a documentary between like 40 to 70 minutes, kind of like what you and I watch on Netflix. So I built it thinking that it was going to be a YouTube series that we like to watch short form content of 7 to 15 minutes. And she goes, yeah, that's fine. But the quality of the document to put together is broadcast quality because I hired a TV company to do it. She goes, this is for Prime. So I started off thinking YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And it ended up being better than I thought. So that's why I said series, but it's moving and it's morphing into something else.
But those if we wanted to say episodes or movie or either are they over an hour long or are
No,
they
the episode's about 15 minutes.
oh 50 so they are
Yeah,
short.
they
So
are
they are
short. Yeah.
short. Okay.
Yeah.
So they are short. So
Hmm.
but so my point is you're selling it as a series, as a
Well, there's
package.
7 pieces, 7 episodes of 15 minutes. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And each one is branded differently
No, they're all
or
under
no?
people worth caring about. They're all under people
Oh,
worth caring about right now. And then they have like a subtitle or subcaption saying what it's about.
well, when you're I'm confused a little about the
The
branded aspect.
Yeah, so for example, people worth caring about right now is only in the healthcare space. So the first one is people worth caring about Nebraska. The second one is people worth caring about Ohio. The one that I'm filming in May is people worth caring about New Mexico, right? And this is probably why I need to hire you to help me figure out what I'm going to do with this in
Yeah,
2026.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wasn't angling that way, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's fascinating because okay, so people worth caring about is the brand.
Hmm.
And then it's really these stories
Hmm.
uh told in serial form, we'll say.
Hmm.
Um but but I love it. And then what else is going on with you in terms of production? Are some other uh, are some other pieces of content in production?
So I don't really know yet. It's working out in the following way. So the TV show that I filmed recently in the United States is about the American dream. That is going to air in 2 weeks in South America and then probably be sold to a streaming. And they say we'll be filming a second season of that this summer or in the fall. Um, but I don't really know what from my side of things that I'm producing, things that I'm hosting, what are the next steps? I'm trying to figure out where people worth caring about can go. I don't know. This is all new to me. I hired this consultant. She said, there's no one doing the same playbook that you're doing, right? Like the people who are doing some version of it are billionaires. They're like Tony Robbins, right? They're telling a story and helping people find their mission and vision, and they're doing it on documentaries. But I mean, I'm no Tony Robbins. I've never spoken to a room of 1,000 people nor changed somebody's life yet.
Oh, well, you don't know if you've changed people's lives. You probably you
Potentially.
have. Yeah, you potentially have, and the fact is it's interesting to draw that comparison in the sense that I was going to say how do you how because a lot of people that I talk to have a lot of different plates spinning, and that's one of the great challenges they face.
Hmm.
Whether they're an entrepreneur or they're just very diverse in their skill set, could be
Hmm.
anything, or their
Hmm.
interests.
Hmm.
You know, um, how do you apportion your attention to these various projects?
I would say that's probably what I'm best at. So my team is 15 full-time employees, contractors, and they work at Strategic Pete. Of those 15, 13 of them were interns. So that means that the culture here is a culture that I want to work with for the rest of my life. I built
Yeah.
it, and they are fundamental parts of it. I have no churn problems, the retention here. People leave when they want to grow. not when they're fired or nor when they feel underappreciated or something like that. And so I can delegate absolutely everything that I'm not good at or don't enjoy to my team. And if there's no one on my team who wants to take it, we can find another one. So the things that I'm involved with right now are anything fractional. So any client who hires me because they want to talk to me, which is anywhere from 2 to 4 clients at any given time. And then on the creative side, it's documentaries. So I sell the documentary and then I host the documentary and the same the TV. Everything else behind it is run by people that are smarter and more talented and better organized than me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. So as we kind of circle around to, the future and the present, and the entrepreneurs that are listening, small business owners that are listening, um, you know, looking back on the journey that you've taken, over the last, well, what is it, 15 years, uh, and well, let's say it's been 18 years
Yeah.
actually, right?
hmm Yeah. Yeah.
Um, if you look at that journey, what is a single piece of advice you would give to somebody who was maybe starting a bicycle tour company in Chile or the equivalent thereof at this moment?
Well, I'll tell you, the lesson that I give myself is be careful with sunk costs, right? Like I should have moved on from La Bicicleta Verde 2 years before I did. I should have moved into the walking tours earlier than I did. I should have moved into corporate tours earlier than I started to fall in love with the creation of my brand deeper than I should have. Today, I just shared with you, like I'm figuring it out as I go, and that feels comfortable for me. I didn't feel comfortable like that when I was 27. Um, and I feel more comfortable sharing that out loud on a podcast. I feel comfortable sharing that out loud in front of my team of 15 people. I'm not the smartest person in the room when it comes to it. So I think my advice to anyone else would um, be more fluid than I was, be more what I am now, like be comfortable with the gray and uncertainty and be good at listening, right? So like when people worth caring about came out and it premiered at a theater with the 400 people in it, and I heard the words and the tears of the people, I knew that I was on to something. And that's when I doubled down and I realized this is not only going to have an impact, but it's tied to my personal brand. So like I think to if trying to summarize what I just vomited right there, Hirsch, is at the beginning, be comfortable being uncertain, but listen really carefully when you're on to something. Don't determine what you're on to. Let other people tell you when you're on to something, and then put a lot of resources at it. So I just reorganized my team and just threw tons of resources at the documentary and the keynote speaking. And it's because I got these leading indicators that I'm on to something. And if I have to drop the retainer side of the business in 1 year, I will. But my brand is big enough to handle that.
All right.
If you liked the show,
Yes, and
it worked for you,
yes, then
subscribe and leave a
yes, friend.
5-star review.
Yes, friend.
Tell all your friends.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Get your branding here.
Yes, friend.
Did I make it clear?
Yes, friend.
Get your branding on
Yes.
before they're gone.